Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. It is time for your instant match reaction as QPR absolutely humiliated Leeds United on what was a must-win game for Leeds. That's playoffs confirmed now for Leeds United, 100%. There ain't no way that Ipswich don't get at least 2 points in the next 3. Or the next 2 even. You know, that's the facts of it. You know, I've always said we're in with a shot. Not after tonight. We had to win. We did not. I don't even know if we got off the bus. I mean, some individuals out there need to hang their heads in shame. I thought they were absolutely shocking. No character. You know, let's not forget there was a lot of pressure on QPR tonight, people. There was a lot of pressure on QPR. They needed to win. They did what they did. They didn't just beat us. They battered us. You know, they battered us. This is not acceptable. You know, we were all mocking Southampton. Southampton got beat by Leicester. We got beat by a team that were in a relegation battle. Tonight was not good. From Farke, Farke got it all wrong and still didn't proceed to change it. When watching the game, I'd have advocated for changes in the fucking first half. We've seen Bielsa do it. You know, when games weren't working, remember Swansea? Calvin went, right, off you come. I got this wrong. You know, we needed to do that. We needed to do that. He did not. I thought Meslier was absolutely shocking tonight. Absolutely shocking. I think his goalkeeping for every single one is shoddy. Maybe not the first, it takes a deflection. But outside of that, absolutely woeful. And it hurts because I've backed him to high heaven. Tonight, yeah, to be honest, no one comes out of it with any sort of flowers. I think Firpo played some good balls, but when Pirro's too busy, you know, playing with himself in the centre circle, then I don't know what's the point in him putting balls into the box. Matteo came on. He connected with one straight away. And I know people will tell me, we did tell you, Joe, but listen, I back the manager, but Joseph should have started tonight. He's the closest profile we have to Bamford. You know, and yeah, we came out in the second half, huffed and puffed for about 5 to 10 minutes and then just went in our shell again. Absolutely shocking. And listen, you've heard me, I'm on the floor. I'm actually on the floor because I'm tired, man. This season has kicked the shit out of me and we've done well. I'm tired. And now we have to play for another fucking full month near enough. We've got 2 games. We might not even win that. You know, you're looking at Norwich, you're looking at West Brom, or you're looking at Hull. You know, because the playoffs is happening. The playoffs is happening tonight. Some will say, we told you so, we told you so. Come on now. Now is not the time. Yeah, you did tell me so. Okay, well done. You know. But I had to believe. I did believe. But that performance today lacked belief on the pitch. Lacked belief on the pitch from minute 1. No one, not one player, can come out with any flowers. Somerville, terrible, too greedy. Nonto only wants to pass to his best mate, Somerville. Shocking tonight. Pirro might as well have not even start. Like, genuinely, he'd have done a better job sat on the sidelines. And that's no BS, because I don't know what he brings. He was all wrong. Yeah, nothing, mate. He was all wrong. Andre Unlucky told us this at the start of the season. So the club should have known this. And I'm not, this isn't, you know, hindsight or anything. We've been saying this. Yes, he scored some goals at the start of the season, but since the turn of the year, when we've changed our tact, he has been missing. It was wrong tonight. Ampadu, look, we've gone from not conceding goals to now just like getting the KY jelly out and bending over. Do you know what I mean? And saying, you know, here we are. That's what, I don't know what has happened to us. But it's just not acceptable tonight what's happened. I'm absolutely gutted. I'm even seeing the most placid of Leeds United fans like Rocco, for example, on Twitter saying this is arguably the worst performance ever. Like in such a big game. In such a big game. This isn't like mid-table shit, switching it off, we're finishing 13th, who cares? This is a massive game after a long old season. And you put up that performance? Nah. Nah. And look, we were all saying, how are Southampton going to get ready for the playoffs? How are we going to now after that? It's shocking. Andrea, you were first in. Hi, Evie. Talk to me, Andrea.
No, I want to connect to the last thing you said. You know, now we have to do a mentality switch. Everyone, the team, the manager, and the fan base are part of it, you know. because now you have to switch from automatics to playoffs. It's not easy. It's not easy when you're challenging for the automatics and now you settle for the playoffs. But I agree with everything you said. Shameful performance. Shameful, shocking. And what's even more shocking is the lack of adaptability of the manager tonight. Absolutely incredible that no changes were made at halftime. Absolutely incredible that he waited till the 60th minute to make a change. And that change was bringing in Joseph, keeping Pirot on the pitch, and we were overpowered in midfield. He moved Gray to the right back and moved Pirot in central midfield. Joel Pirot, a player that struggles right now, I struggled all season in that areas to make 2 touches, because when he gets pressed, he rushes to make a pass and misplaces the pass. That's Pirot. In this team, he struggles so much to have an impact. And Gruyev, tonight, nowhere to be seen. He was subbed off in added time for Kamara. Is that a joke? It should have happened before. Why don't you put Kamara in there? Everything was horrible tonight from the game management. And I see Farke seem resigned. He stayed on in the dugout seat in the dugout. Didn't even show fight himself. It was a total resignation from the team to the manager, because the manager has a share of his responsibility, but it was even the team. The intensity was zero, the pressure was zero, and again it's a pattern. And again, I would like to ask a question to everyone, and you can answer after I finish this one. Who is this leader? The leader that we have in this team, in these games, like for example Blackburn. In this kind of games, Preston, when we lost, and in games we struggled, who has taken the team on his shoulders? Look at the team under us. The team had players who were technically lower than all the players that we have right now in the team, the majority. But those players back then, for example, like Ailing, Dallas, Alioski, they weren't the most technically gifted clique, but they were leaders. They put up a fight. They were aggressive. They understood what pressure was. They embraced the pressure. Tonight we were overpowered by the pressure. We look lost. We look like QPR was Real Madrid tonight, because the level of intensity looked like there were 20 QPR players on the pitch in certain times. Because 1, 2, 3 players, there was constant movement from them, pressing us, attacking us, making us feel the pressure, and we didn't react. We didn't react for 90 minutes. There was not one single action where we show fight and reaction to their game plan, where we put up a fight. It was, like you said, it was like we didn't even get out of the bus, And apart from that, not getting out of the bus, it's the lack of reaction, because games are 90 minutes. If game is not working, we've seen Bielsa, like Calvin at Villa, for example, even in the Premier League, No, sorry, not Calvin, Strauk, You can make changes. Tonight, at the 30th minute, it looked like it was already the worst game we played, the first time we played this season. So be brave, make changes, adjust the team. I don't understand why a player like Cresswell, who has played 28 games with Millwall last season in the Championship, cannot play, for example, against QPR, against Blackburn teams playing in the mid or lower side of the table. He's played with Millwall last season, 28 games in the Championship. This is very same league. And he's one of the physical players we have. We don't have physical players. That's why I said the halftime, put Ampon in the middle, because he's the only one that can match their physicality, the level of intensity, the level of aggression, He's the only one. But Ampon always stays at the back because he doesn't trust Cresswell. He doesn't trust Cresswell. It's like that, It's a whole thing, I'm really struggle to understand, because I think Farke is a very good manager. Again, I say that, but I've always criticized him for Pirot rotor switching from the start of the season. And 26th of April, again, Pirot rotor. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So last thing I want to say, because I'm a sportsman, Congrats to QPR for the safety, because they deserve it. Great game. And congrats to Leicester too for getting back to the Premier League, because they had a bad run throughout the season. Yeah, they didn't play good games in certain occasions, but they got points. And that's mentality, keeping going to the last minute, and sticking with the manager too, because there were many fans saying, sack Maresca. They decided to stay with him, and in the end, they were rewarded. I think what Leicester, Saints, and Ipswich also have one thing that we don't have: physical players. We don't have all physical players. Look at Sanfield, for example, look at Anderson. We don't have that kind of players matching physicality. If we face a physical team in the playoff, West Brom, Norwich, we struggle automatically. Put it on paper, we struggle. Absolutely. I'm finished on this if I got carried out a bit, but it's passion, we're fans. So after tonight, it can happen, I think it's physiological. Yeah.
Yeah. It's mad. Like Leicester have tweeted out, we predict a riot. Obviously, we deserve it. They've absolutely buoyed us off there, but what can you do? You've got the likes of Dewsbury Hall and Co saying who's out in Leicester tonight. We have gift wrapped it. It's shocking. It's shoddy. Paul, mate, how are you? I don't even think your lovely tones will be able to bring me around, mate. I'm absolutely raging. Oh, Gavy's gone. Okay.
Look, jokes aside, I don't understand how we put a performance like that out at this stage. I genuinely don't understand how we put a performance out like at this stage of the season. Sometimes you can take losing, but we were battered tonight. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. And same as Andrea said, you have to congratulate QPR. For the way that they played, the way that the manager set them up, it worked absolutely perfectly. And I have, where do you start? Pirro, rubbish. Rutter, rubbish. Somerville, Championship player of the season. Championship player of the season.
Yeah.
Do me a favour. You have to turn up to games, and he's not turned up tonight.
No.
And that's not me trying to down him as a player. He hasn't turned up tonight. Gray, he's been used to be playing right back all season. Gruev struggled because he's having to do the work of both him and Gray for a bit. The game passed Gray by quite a lot tonight, I think. I agree with Andrea about Ampadu should have gone into the centre of midfield. Byram, poor. Rodon, really poor. Melier, absolutely shocking. And I'm the same as you, Joe. I would defend Melier to the hilt. And you're right, by the first goal, because it takes that silly deflection. You can't sit here and explain it. You can't. I mean, do these players not understand in tonight's performance that we've effectively we've gift wrapped autos?
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem, innit? Yeah.
And to Ipswich, effectively. We're now praying that Ipswich lose tomorrow or draw.
It's not happening though, is it, Paul? Like, even if they draw, they've then got Coventry and then they've got on the final day fucking Huddersfield and we've got Southampton, you know what I mean? Like, tonight was so big. Yeah. Tonight was so big. And
I hate using it because I've heard it used, the bottle job thing, but the moniker is apt for this evening because they were so poor.
Yeah,
and there was nobody putting themselves on the line. Nobody putting in strong.
Tonight it's deserved, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is.
Nobody was putting themselves on the line. I've had Liverpool fans messaging me that are mates saying, "Is Somerville really that bad?" I'm like, well, no, he's genuinely, but just he's not. I'm so disappointed is the right way of saying it. I was confident about tonight, and then it's just, you don't expect it. Farke got the selection all wrong.
Yeah.
Pirro should not be in the team starting. Joseph, for me, I think should be up front. He should have been up front. You could see that within 2 minutes of him coming on. He's on the end of a chance straight away because he's around knocking it about. He's on the end of a chance. Listen, everybody, all the Bamford haters and stuff and things like that. I mean, look at the difference with Bamford not in the team.
Well, exactly.
I'm not going to sit here and say that the result would have been any different tonight to what it was, with Bamford in or out of the team. And this is, again, not to try and personally, every single one of those players tonight should genuinely hang their heads in shame. I mean, if it were me and I was the captain of the team, I'd be telling them, listen, lads, we need to reimburse the away fans.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that That was disgusting as a performance. Absolutely disgusting. And they need to pull their shit together, pardon me swearing, pull their stuff together for what is going to be a playoff berth. Because, and listen, and on the other side of it as well, what happens if now we don't make it through the playoffs and we've got another season to fight in the championship?
Exactly.
Other players that are going to disappear out of the window. I don't get it. I just don't understand it. It's just
massive.
Horrible. And like I said, every single one of those players, including all of the attacking players, like I said, Pirro, rubbish. Nonto, rubbish. Somerville, rubbish. Rutter, rubbish. All of them. And just what a game for everybody to be rubbish. Yeah. That's it. I'm sweating now.
No, you've hit every single nail on the head and then pulled it back out with Clawmara and hit it back in, mate, to be honest. Ryan Paula Higgins says, the red tie curry break was more entertaining. I'm 38. It's the worst I've ever seen from a Leeds team. The question for you all, have we been found out tactically or is that just we're just shite tonight, mate. Farke got it wrong tactically. Stephen Higgins, £10 super sticker, thank you. Phil says, we've seen this over the years, 2019, Bielsa, Monk 2017, seen it in League One, we are chronic bottlers. I just want to give Evie a hug, I see a pain. Evie, yeah. I'm going to come to you next, I can see it as well. How are you feeling tonight? It was rough, wasn't it? Really rough.
Yeah, that was... It matched relegation, really, from last year. That was, I think the only person who gave any slight fight was Firpo.
Yeah.
And that's it. Nobody else gave like a damn. Yeah. They just didn't. The fact that Pirro was still on was criminal. Farke's substitutions or lack of cost us that game. His setup cost us that game. His arrogance cost us that game. The lack of drive. Andrea was right. We've got no captains. We've got no fighters. And I said it months ago. We don't have any grizzled players. We don't have any players that know how to play this level. We don't. We just have. We have people who would probably do okay in the Premier League. And I know that sounds ridiculous and people are going to come for me for saying that, but I actually think that some of these players would play better because you're more protected in the Premier League than you are in the Championship. We got 0 decisions tonight. And I'm not saying that we deserve them, because you don't lose a game 4-0 by the referee. You lose 4-0 by just being utterly disgraceful. Yeah. And we were abysmal. And we do need to refund those travelling fans.
100%.
Like, what was that? That wasn't football. That was acceptance of another year in the Premier League, in the Championship. Yeah. If only it was another season in the Premier League.
Right.
I just don't see how with one game to go, we can actually get anything out of the playoffs. If they can't take the pressure to get automatics, how can you take potentially, 3 games? 2 games? 3 games?
3 games if we get.
So how can, if they can't do it against QPR, who only needed a point, I really expected them to just sit deep. As soon as that second goal went in, as soon as the first goal went in, I just thought that they were going to sit deep, and they didn't. They showed more fight, and they didn't have to get the second, third, or fourth goal. We couldn't even get a shot off. It was pathetic. The fact that we cannot take a shot from outside of the box, or if we do, it goes miles over because it's desperation. And whoever is our set-piece coach at Leeds is stealing a living. We are atrocious at set pieces. I cringe every single time we get any sort of free kick or corner, because it's just a waste of everybody's time. We might as well just pick it up, get a yellow card for touching the ball, and hand it back to the goalkeeper, because it's 100%. Pointless.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm so devastated because we all know what happens next. And
exactly.
I said months ago, look, we don't know what this team's going to be like in the playoffs. Had we have lost that game and we could say that we deserved something from it.
1-0 from a corner or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
1-0, not battered.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, we deserve to win the Blackburn game. Or we deserve to get something from it. At least we fought. But this was just throwing in the towel. Why every single time when we have it in our hands to do something and to actually get something and to go ahead, even when it's technically not in our hands because Ipswich still have those games in hand, we just can't do it, which means that there's no lead. And Farke sat down for 90% of the game. He's not there G'ing them up. He's accepting that we're in the playoffs. That body language for me says, shit, I've got this wrong. But I can't do it. I can't change anything. I can't alter anything. I'm not willing to alter anything because I've stuck by my guns. No, admit that you're wrong. Every fan wanted changes at halftime. For 45 minutes, we were abysmal. This isn't 45 minutes that you can turn around. That was 45 minutes of pitiful and attempts at football. Absolutely pitiful. So this is, we needed him to be strong and to make that change at halftime. I honestly, Pirro, I've defended Pirro because of the fact that he has scored goals this season, and he is part of the reason why our goal difference was as good as it was. But he did nothing. He lost the ball every touch that he got in midfield. He was shocking. He's another player who's stealing a living. Somerville's got his head up his backside and thinks that he's already in the Premier League and thinks, well, it doesn't matter because I'm going to be in the Premier League with or without Leeds United. And that's how it felt today. All of my frustrations from this season of Somerville's selfish play really came to the forefront today. And Nonto should have been off at halftime as well. I'm so angry. So angry.
Hey,
that's another thing, When players don't perform, a very quick one. When players don't perform, they stay on the pitch, and there's no chance from certain players that are constantly staying on the bench. And because regardless of how certain players starting a week in and week out play, they are still on the pitch for 90 minutes, and it doesn't give a chance to other players on the pitch. So they feel like, okay, I'm not playing well, but I'm sure that until the 80 minutes I'll be on the pitch, or at least until the 70 minutes I'll be on the pitch, because he's not going to sub me off, That's what I feel, honestly.
100%. No, I get it. And do you know what? When Evie started, and she remembered what she said, why was Pirro still on the pitch? In my mind, he'd been subbed off. So I quickly checked. He fucking played the full 90.
Yep.
I was that gone by the end. I was just more angry. I didn't realise. He fucking played the full 90. Like, what are we doing here? He played the 90, which is insane.
Central mid.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely insane.
90, total shite.
Yes, yeah. Before we come to you, JT, let me just rattle through these super chats. Badger says, Dan James and Pat spread out a defence for Somerville to move. If they can't get back, we're in real trouble. I love you, Joe. Keep your head high. Same goes for you, mate. Phil said, that looked like a group of players who thought, don't matter if we don't go up, I'll get Prem move anyways. Ipswich players don't have that mindset. Maybe so, Phil. Maybe so. Come on then, JT, stop eating and start talking, mate.
Stop eating, start talking. Well, I was thinking the same thing while I was watching the match, mate. Stop eating, start playing. Unfortunately, it took him until the match actually finished before I actually saw any sort of fight, heart, or anything. It was one of the weakest, gutless performances. Am I sat here devastated necessarily? No, because I could see it coming a mile off. Ray Charles could see it coming a mile off. I thought for me, things really turned bad once we lost that. When 2 home games left, you lose your unbeaten home record at that point. I thought for me at that point, things were looking a bit weak in terms of our chances of getting up. But then I started to build myself up for it again today. We all started to build ourselves up for it. You had everyone trying to get tickets to that Southampton game. And before I do get into my thoughts on this game, let's have a little moment of silence for anyone that has actually bought tickets to that Southampton game, because that is going to be the biggest consolation game of all time. So little F to pay respects for you guys. But no, today I just felt pretty empty inside watching it. I was more humiliated than annoyed because QPR, one of the most washed teams I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's actually become federal law that it's illegal to have a shower if you're a QPR fan because your team's already that washed. And they came and turned us over 4-0. How is that even a thing? How is that? The goals as well. The manner of the goals. It's not like they were, carving us open with some fine, exquisite football. They were shit goals. It was skid mark defending back again for Leeds United. What happened to the team that didn't concede a goal from open play in 2024? I tell you, that team is long gone. That team's back in black and white because I haven't seen them the past month. I haven't seen them. I mean, fuck me. They couldn't defend themselves in a one-on-one fist fight against Hornswoggle. Speaking of the man, our midfield would have looked a lot better if we had him in there. Because what the hell happened there? Casper the Ghost settings. Just walking through our midfield the entire match. No substance there. Nothing stopping them. Offensively, I'll get into that for a bit. I'll probably say that's the least of our troubles today. Defensively, it was just spineless. That's the only word I can really use to sum it up. When you're 1-0 down, 2-0 down, if you at least had some sort of hope of getting promoted, at least some sort, and you didn't think you were going to win the game, at least you would try and keep it at 2-0 because you have a little bit of goal difference advantage over Ipswich. But no, they just crumbled. The second that second goal went in, the third goal went in, they crumbled. 80th minute, you might still have a really outside chance of winning the game. And I don't think they were having good games, Somerville and Rutter. But why would you take them off? And you're leaving Perot on in the midfield and fucking basically holding midfield. What's he actually doing? Let's be real. Going forward, by the end of the game, we looked so weak, we wouldn't even win a Mexican standoff against flipping Amnesty International. I tell you that for nothing. That's how fucking poor we are. I don't think if you played another 90 minutes, we would have scored because we showed no intent of doing so. And I know I'm going on a bit of a spiel, you could say, but at least I'm showing some sort of creativity, or I'm trying to, because I didn't see any fucking creativity on that football pitch. I tell you that for nothing. And that the least of all. So, yeah, to surmise it, I thought it was weak. I thought it was poor. I thought it was spineless. And to make it even worse, QPR are the team that's mugged us off. Yeah, QPR. Yeah. After Ipswich and Leicester gave us this many chances, you came back from a 17-point gap behind. You closed the gap only to get the lead, the victory seized in your hands, and then get it and urinate it all straight onto the patio. So that's our season. That's Leeds' season. Do I think we'll win the playoffs? Probably not. We lost. Let's be real. Let's have it right. In my lifetime, we lost a League One playoff final. Yeah, the playoff to get into the league right now that we should have been out of about 2 months ago, realistically, with our squad. We lost that to Doncaster. So do I have a lot of hope going forward for that? No. Do I have a lot of hope that Ipswich will slip up? No, not really. Not really. No, they actually show some sort of fight and grit, and they keep digging in. They keep kind of getting these games out. Leeds did show that for a portion of time, but to be honest, it would have probably been better for all of us if we didn't, because it's the hope that kills you. What Leeds have done over the past couple months, they string you along, you get really excited, and then they pull you back down. They pull you back down into the depths of the earth, and then all of a sudden there's a little glimmer of hope, and they pull you back up. And right as you get your head above that water level, they grab your feet and drag you back underneath and suffocate you. And that's what this season has been. So right now, yeah, I'm annoyed, but am I going to go to bed devastated? No, because I could probably see this coming from a mile away. And at this point, nothing surprises me with Leeds. But I will say, to caveat at least, before I do end this, is I'm not going to throw hate to Daniel Farke. I'm not going to go throw hate to individual players, because at the end of the day, they have still done a good job to get us to this point in the season. I don't want to hear people using the excuse, well, the points tally any other year we would have got automatic. This ain't any other year. All right, you don't win anything for points tally. Yeah, sure, it looks nice, but no one remembers it, okay? But I will say we've still done a good enough job this season. So I'm not going to, say they're all shit or whatever. They've bottled it, yes, but they're still good players and they got us to this point. That's my caveat.
Yeah, I think that's fair, mate. I think that's fair. Obviously, once the season's done, regardless of what's happened in the playoffs. I think once the dust has settled, we can all say it's been a good season. But yeah, it just ended terribly. But listen, we've got to, or the players and Daniel Farke have got to get themselves back ready. You know, we've got a dead rubber against bloody Southampton now. Like you said, those who've got the tickets, they were like gold dust. They're now probably thinking, what's the fecking point? And then we've got a 2-legged playoff against either one of West Brom, Norwich, or Hull City. So watch this space
All
for that
physical
one.
teams.
Yeah, true.
That's worrying, honestly. That's a bad matchup for us, honestly, to be fair. Either of these three teams, honestly. Of course, we've been told, but that's what I want to look at to connect it to all you. If you look after the international break, Watford draw, Hull we beat them, Coventry lost, Sunderland draw, Blackburn lost, we won at Borough and lost tonight. Tell me one single game of these games I mentioned, even the ones we won, we dominated. If you see through those games, even the wins against Hull and Borough, where we conceded 3 goals, by the way, one scored 4, but conceding 3. There's a similar pattern to all these games, honestly, and we weren't able to adapt to the drop in form, to the drop in certain aspects of the tactics. We didn't adapt, and the other teams adapt to us, and you can see that tonight, epitomized by QPR, by the way, and that's another difference, because we beat Ipswich twice, we beat Leicester twice. Yeah. Leicester are promoted to the Premier League tonight, but if you look at the table from the bottom of the table, against Rotterdam we drop points, Huddersfield drop points, Birmingham drop points, Sheffield Wednesday drop points, Plymouth, I think did we won at home? I tend to forget. Yeah, we won at home, I think.
Yeah, we drew at their place and won at home.
We drew at their place, yeah. But Blackburn drop points, Stoke drop points. It tells you everything. We made the points against the top teams, like Norwich, for example, won twice. Ipswich won twice. Leicester won twice. And we drop points against the teams at the bottom of the table, fighting for relegation. So it reconnects us to the leadership and mentality thing I said at the start. If you perform against top teams, you have to be able to perform against the so-called minuscules. They are all top clubs, in terms of history. So I respect every club in the league. But look at Ipswich. Ipswich have the mentality because, of course, they got promoted last season, and now these players have in their minds, oh, I was a League One player last season. Now I can be a Premier League player in this 12 months. So they're fighting for their lives out there. Leicester, the difference with Leicester, I think, is that they have used their squad depth.
Yeah.
When players were,
do you know what's annoying,
they made
Andrea? Though,
yeah,
we've gifted it. They hadn't even had to do. Do you see what I mean? They hadn't even had to get to Preston to get promoted. We've fucking gone and absolutely capitulated, and that's what's stinging. I'm angry. I'm not even down. This is the thing. Like me, sometimes I'm down. I'm angry. I'm angry tonight.
We shouldn't be in that position. We shouldn't be in the position we're in. 100%. We should, but you see, and I agree with what Andrea is saying. We, against physical teams, is where we've struggled. Physical teams with the low block, and then the thing that has been interesting is Farke changing the system the last 2 games, and whilst it worked luckily against Borough, it didn't work tonight against QPR. And that, I think, as well, there's a little bit, I think, of the players going, well, I'm not quite sure what we're doing here. I'm not quite sure how we're going to be doing it. But how long have we all been saying now, when Ampadu's been coming forward with the ball, or Rodon in particular coming forward with the ball, it's just the arms go up in the air and go, well, where am I passing it to?
Yeah, exactly.
Where am I passing it to?
Yeah. It was bad. It was bad. We've had a couple of super chats. One, sorry. Barney says, when one player has a flat game, it's the player. When the whole team is flat, it's the man in charge. Palace vibes with Javi. Craig says, Gray will be amazing midfielder, but don't put him on his first season when there is 6 games. Now we're just being. Gray was pivotal I think that's unfair to start rewriting stuff, Craig, but everyone's entitled to their opinion. Yeah, and I think there is a shout for Kamara, but Kamara has dropped of late, and Farke had tried to switch it with the 4-1-4-1 or whatever, and yeah, it hasn't worked, but listen, Gray's been amazing. I think let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I wouldn't mind Kamara coming back in and maybe going back to what was working right at the start. We have to hope and pray that Bamford's fit, and if not, you've got to play Joseph because Piro's absolutely stinking. And, you know, there was a tweet that someone tagged me in where apparently Somerville and Piro were having a go at each other on the pitch as well. So maybe there is still something a little bit hanging over that penalty situation that they had. Who knows? And you don't need that. And this is what Farke was saying prior to the game about Bamford bringing that leadership, telling them when to calm down, telling them when to stand up and all that sort of stuff. And tonight they were all over the shop. I do want to go through Farke's post-match comments because I wanted to get your thoughts on it. So Farke's reaction to the defeat, this is what he's had to say. So decisive with the first 20 minutes. We didn't do the basics. That's important in football to win duels, to be there with aggression and movement. QPR used this to go 2-0 up. He says we were far away from our best and definitely not good enough. He was asked then, are Leeds choking? He says, no, it's not right that we're... no, it's right that we're disappointed. We're on 90 points after 45 games. This is our toughest result. There's no explanation. We must be critical, but I'm far away from thinking Leeds are choking. He says, one thing is for certain, there's no reason to dwell too much on this. From Monday on, we keep going. He says, you can never guarantee anything in football, but what I can assure you is that we will be self-critical. I didn't expect we would lose this game 4-0. I thought the win at Borough was good for the mood. If I'd have seen this coming, believe me, I'd have acted in a different way. Maybe underpreparing then. Maybe underpreparing for the game. I don't know.
Oh, really? Yeah, well, I was actually hoping he was going to come out and say, yeah, well, I was expecting us to get demolished today, to be honest with you. I was expecting 3-0. Turned out to be 4-0. What can I say? You know? It's such vague words. Like,
let me just... this I massively disagree with, by the way. He says, Farke on Bamford's injury. I would have preferred to have him available, but Joel was a natural replacement. It wasn't just about the striker. In many attacking positions, we didn't show enough resilience. But I think we can all agree, categorically, all of us will agree that... Yeah,
about as natural as Kim Kardashian. Are you kidding me? That's the Armenian I'm slating out. You know, that's how bad it's got.
He's bad. Joel's bad. Joel's bad.
No, it's not bad. He's just not number 9.
He doesn't fit what we're doing.
Who does Joseph have to bribe to actually get into the starting 11? Because we were talking about dropping Bamford for him for weeks, right? Bamford dropped himself by courtesy of injuries and other things, and he still can't get into the side. Like what?
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's like saying Oland and Julian Alvarez are the same kind of player, you know, just because they play in the same position.
Yeah, true.
The lack of accountability there on Farke is really, really disappointing. He's messed up today. And the fact that he's saying he would have made changes. Well, guess what? You're a manager. You can make in-game changes. That's literally the point of substitutions. We've been saying it all year. He has not used that bench. He has not used Anthony. He has not used Geldhart. And he expected them to come on and miraculously make some sort of change. That's absolutely farcical, the fact that he would come out and say that. I find that really, really disgusting, and the lack of accountability on a manager. He should be soaking up that responsibility right there in order to not become another Frank Lampard or another Enzo or another Russell Martin where he puts it all on the players. You say, I should have made changes. I take this, I look inward, and I will learn from this. Instead of just saying, I wish, you know, if I'd have known we were going to do that, then I would have made changes. Well, you had the option to make changes. You've had the option to make changes all year. The fact that we do not utilise our bench, and it's something that I've said for months, is the fact that he doesn't utilise. So then when these players are expected to come in and make a difference. They're not game ready because they've not been given minutes. How can you expect Geldhart, who played most of his minutes in August, how can we expect him to come on and make a difference?
I was the same. I
That's
agree.
absolutely
Yeah, I
ridiculous.
agree.
And poor Anthony, you know, he's been booted out of a Premier League club. You know, I know it's Bournemouth and, you know, whatever, they're still in the Premier League and we're not, and we're probably not going to be next year either. So for him not to have given Anthony a chance when Nonto was just being petulant the entire game, and have expect Geldhart to be the Geldhart of 2 seasons ago and come on and make a change. That's not the player he is anymore, because he's been crucified for 2 seasons, not getting minutes. This is on Farke. The players need to be up for it. I get that. But it really did have, you know, I agree with people who have said it had Palace vibes about it tonight. And it really did. You know, we've loved seeing them all behind the scenes becoming, you know, friends, and all the lovely videos and just the positive atmosphere around the club. It's been a joy to see. But we haven't seen that. The internationals have done something, a bit like the dressing room at Crystal Palace did something, and we just completely lost it. This year, we've managed to scrape by a couple of results, like Andrea said, you know, the Hull and the Middlesbrough games. We can't honestly say we played well in any of those games. We haven't played well. To be honest, I think there's about 3 games before the international we haven't played well, because we scraped by a 2-0 win against Sheff Wednesday and a 2-0 win against Millwall, who were both abysmal. So this is 100% on Farke, and the fact that he's not even owning it, that's what's so disappointing. How can you expect your players to grow up and to actually mature and have a bit of, you know, tenacity about them when you're not willing to say, I've made a mistake? Because that's what men do. Men admit when they've made mistakes, and they learn from them and they change things, and he just hasn't. That's really, really annoyed me.
I love this, how somehow we've managed to make it about the old guard, though. Somehow, somewhere, there is someone that blames Q. I don't even know what this is about, if I'm honest. If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
He's not playing.
I know what I'm saying. But they're at fault. They're at fault because we can free up their. They're both out of contract in the summer.
Maybe saying.
Do you know
on replacements on the bench to have more depth? I think.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. But even still, it's like, but even still, mate, now's not the time. It's mad. For me, worst player on the pitch, Pirot. I still can't believe that he stayed on for 90, and that Farke, like you've said, he's telling us that he was the perfect replacement. He needs to hold up his hands and say, do you know what? I was wrong. Matteo needs to play. But no one was good. No, arguably Melier was probably worse. I think maybe Melier was worse than Pirot.
No, Pirot for me, mate.
You reckon?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It was literally 10 men on the pitch. The free kick that he took towards the end, it sums up his entire game. His entire game, just whatever.
Yeah.
He's even unbalanced, you know, in terms of keeping his balance. He gets unbalanced so many times, you know. And the first touch, he gets unbalanced.
On a pogo stick, mate.
Yeah. I tell you what, one thing I will say, we fucking could have done with that guy, by the way, for the last few weeks. I'm not even joking. I am not even joking.
Was that you saying, Joe?
No, you said, yeah. I know you said it. You did say it, bro. And, you know.
Leadership. That's what
we've
leadership. Whether it's in the changing room or on the pitch.
Yeah. Listen, we got back. Listen, I don't want to do this to a death. Everyone's crestfallen. Everyone needs sleep and all that jazz.
I don't think we'll sleep tonight, mate. Honestly.
No, neither will I. But you know, I'm gonna walk the dogs for about 9 miles or something, I reckon.
Well, it's a smackdown, you know, that would distract you a little bit.
Yeah, true.
The draft. Yeah.
Is there any way back from this?
Half our squad after that performance.
Is there any way back from this? Can we still go up through the playoffs?
There's always a chance. There is always a chance we could go up through the playoffs. The problem that we've got is we're putting square pegs in round holes, and we all know who that one person is, and he shouldn't have played tonight. Story. I think Joseph plays, and it's a different game. I understand reasons why Farke hasn't put him in, but I think if Joseph plays, it's a different game. He's the most similar person to Bamford that we have. that can do that. And again, Bamford's leadership on the pitch as well. You could see them all. Just something. I agree with Evie. Something wasn't right tonight. Something was just really off the boil. And listen, we haven't been good for a few games, but just something was off the boil. They need to have a word with themselves, and they need to have a word with themselves quick. Because if not, I mean, somebody said to me about Somerville and about Arne Slot really liking him, and I just said, listen, after tonight's performance, I'll drive him to Liverpool myself. You can't. You are the Championship player of the season. You jumped up on the side of the railings, giving it the big one at Middlesbrough when you scored the goal. Act like the player of the season. We've got players there that are 3 players that are in the team of the season. Act like it. Act like the leaders that you're supposed to be, and they didn't. But, you know, tomorrow's another day, and we could pull it back from the jaws of defeat. Who knows? But I don't feel like we will.
Just to before anyone else comes in, we've got some more Farke comments. He did say we are not giving up until it's over. There are 2 bullets. Automatic promotion is the first. If not possible, we go for the second, which of course is playoffs. He said Bamford's a few days away from recovering from a bruised knee. He congratulates QPR for deservedly winning and staying up, as well as Leicester on their promotion. He does go on to say that he did not change the side at half-time in order to give the players the chance to put the embarrassing display behind them. Felt it wasn't right to put even younger players on at that point, which I totally disagree with. And he does say, I'm tempted not to talk about the playoffs as it will give the wrong message of giving up. I'm already thinking of how to win the last game and give ourselves a chance of 93 points. And he did say tomorrow the players will be training at Thorpe Arch, so there are no days off, which, yeah, that should be the case. Get them in and
recovery day, yeah.
Yeah.
Light training.
Get them in and fucking sort them out. Yeah, he don't want to talk about the psychological challenge of raising the players.
Came on.
He needs to rally the players. You need to criticize them
when he came on.
Sorry, say again. I missed it.
Sorry. I'm now getting stressed out with the comments. Even when Geldart came on, he did more in the however many minutes he was on when he came on.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So I don't know if Farke's just doing it to just just to screen everybody, but just like Evie said, just go, do you know what? I fucked up. My fault.
Yeah.
Honest with it. Christ.
Yeah. I think, like I said in the watch along, Gelhart's done more running in his cameo than Pirro's done in the last fucking 4 games he's played. You know what I mean? And that's the truth of it. He's static. And look, I'm not trying to make it all about him, and I feel unfair on him because he's a very good player. We bought him for 12 million. We just bought him for the wrong system, and you know, we can't get the best out of him.
But the thing is, how are we at the 45th game saying the same thing that, well, I don't know when I came on here, 10th match week, 11th match
week.
We've
been saying it.
I wasn't even coming out my own opinion. I was coming out with Farke's own words, which he had come out with 3 games into the season. 3 games into the season, people are like, oh, why is he playing Rotter up front? Farke comes out and literally says, yeah, he can't press for me. He can't play number 9 because he can't press. But yet we're in the 45th game of the season.
But now he's telling us he is the right change. Yeah, that shows a little bit of a head loss from him as well. Because now he is saying he's the perfect replacement. Go on, mate, sorry.
You know what is the most important position we've lacked since the start of the season, you know? It is I've always said that, you know, when we're doing this counter reports in the summer, the way Farke plays, you need a natural 10 playing in the system. Because if you look at his Norwich side, you get a totally different player compared to Rutter. Rutter has arrived from Hoffenheim in January 2023, you know. He used to play as a winger or as a second striker there, and we acquired him to be a number 9. So they sold him to Farke when there was the switch on the hierarchy, you know, because the order talked, it was a number 9. Then we had the new ownership and all that, and we still tried to play him as a number 9. But Farke understood that he was not a number 9, so he tried to adapt him to the 10. But he still has a long way to go for the 10, and I don't think it may even be his final position, you know, because he struggles to hold up the play. He focuses too much on the dribbling. He needs to play 1-2 and turn around and sprint into spaces. You know, the number 10 needs to be a link-up player. He plays like a winger in the middle, because if you look at the way he plays in that role recently, it's very similar to how Somerville and Jonte play on the wing. But that in the middle is more crowded, so you have more chance to lose possession there. I think we lost completely progression and verticality without bringing in. I said, in January, we should bring in even a backup number 10. For example, Blackburn are a selling club. We know that. Look, they sold on loan Travis, to Ipswich. They sold Wharton to Crystal Palace. For example, people say he's not a number 10. Okay, he plays in a different way, the number 10 position. But for me, if you look at not just the game we play against us, but all the other games, for me, he's the perfect man for this system, very similar to Pablo. And even Pirot, we said, is not the typical nine from this system. He struggles. On the other hand, if we brought in a different number 9, because we're still talking about Bamford is a few days away from returning, okay, but we're still relying totally on Bamford because he's not trusting fully Matteo to stay in his place. He's coming out on the penultimate match day of the season saying the natural replacement for Bamford is Pirot and not Joseph. When everybody can see is Joseph the natural replacement for Bamford. If we brought in instead of Pirot and a different player for the system, you remember I had my mantra of Poyampal, remember that in the summer, Imagine that kind of player. That kind of player, capable of holding the ball, and also more versatile, more dynamic. Now he's a good top goal scorer in Serie B, but Pirot scored some goals. Okay, I agree with Evie, but everybody should look at the way he scored those goals. Apart from one, I think the one against was I don't recall the team now, maybe Watford. I don't recall, from outside the box. All the other ones have been tap-ins or finishes inside the box. Not 1v1 situations, not chances where he progressed with the ball shot for outside the box. Look at the way he scored the post. I think there's just one goal scored from outside the box. That tells you everything, And apart from that, he always stays near the central area of the pitch. So again, like the start of the season, and for me, that's the mental thing, You have two players tonight going towards the center pitch, and no one covering the central space is challenging the center backs, Cook and the other one.
Clark Salter.
Yeah, Clark Salter. Sorry, yeah. Not on.
Ilias Chair made us. The left back Pal. They were just better everywhere, weren't they? They were just better than us everywhere.
Chair. How the fucking poetic irony in that 4 of our players got sat on their ass by a guy called Chair. Come on, are you mugging me off?
Evie, I'll come to you. I'll just get through these. We're done now. Won't go through the playoffs. Mr. P says, this team does not make it out of the first round of games of playoffs. Would love to be proved wrong. Farke didn't look like he had a clue as usual. I think that's unfair to say as usual, because we have got 90 points. What a terrible night for us. Feel rubbish. I'm sure everyone else is the same. Spent a fortune on May 4th trying to rebook for Wembley, unless Ipswich. No, I'm not going to even think of that. Yeah, even that, Colin... Even I'm not thinking of that, mate. I can't lie to you. If they lose on Saturday night, tomorrow night, maybe I might go, oh, never know. But I just don't see it. I actually, in a way, just want them to win so we can just get ready for the fecking playoffs and move on. Wolves F1 says, believe it ain't over till it's over. Go on, Evie.
Right. So, obviously, I've expressed my opinion in terms of Farke not using the bench. And we know that we will probably have to sell at least one player to balance the books before next season. Who that is obviously up for debate, and whether it is just the one is also up for debate. But if you're Cresswell, if you're Geldhart, obviously Anthony will go back, that's fine. How do you feel about not being given a chance this year with a better team, when we will be in some way, shape or form weaker next season? Because I know that he's not been fantastic on the pitch, but we're not going to have Dallas potentially. We're not going to have, as in, he'll still be around the club potentially, but right now we're not 100% sure, but he's certainly not going to be on the pitch. So we don't have Dallas, we don't have Ayling, we don't have Cooper. So we've got no kind of grizzled, older leaders. You've got players like Cresswell who haven't been given a chance. If you're coming round next year, we're not as attractive as we have been this year for loan players, etc. But how are you going to feel if now that the better team had disappeared, that you're now being given a chance to play, kind of thing? Like the point I'm trying to get at, not great, but is the mood of the players next year is not going to be the same as it has been throughout this season, because a lot of these players have been neglected by Farke. And if you're a player, wanting to come through, if you're not good enough to play in, as we've all argued, one of the best, if not the best team in the league, it's hard to argue when you get beaten 4-0 by QPR that that's the case. But, over the span of the year, we have been. So if you're not good enough to play with the best team, why should you be good enough to, why should you want to play? If you actively know that you're not good enough, essentially.
I think. Go on.
The one thing that I would say to counter that, I understand exactly what you're saying, but I think the thing with these guys, I think some of the younger ones in particular, or this would be what my hope would be, is that they are all young, professional footballers, and I think Geldart in particular wouldn't worry me too much. Because I think his mum would kick his ass anyways, because I really like his mum. Cresswell, I'd be slightly more worried about because his dad's got a bit of a mouth.
Yeah, he goes.
Yeah, but I see but for me, if you're professional, for me, I take it as, do you know what? I'm going to show, pardon my French, I'm going to show these fuckers that decided to rinse it last season. I'm going to show them how it's going to be done, and people are going to remember my name moving forwards and not these jokers that were there before. I would like to think that some of them would be like that. That might not be the case, but that's how I would like to think some of these younger players might be. But I completely get your point. I know exactly what you mean, but I'd like to think that they want to come out fighting. But that's...
Yeah, I think, look, I'm not... If we don't go up, yes, we'll lose Somerville. Yes, we'll lose Nanto. But I think you won't lose many more than that, if I'm being totally honest. That's my opinion. I think that money will actually have a better squad next season than we do this season in terms of numbers, and I think we'll give a really good fist of it. All this stuff, 16 years and all that. No, we'll be back, but yeah, we're not there yet though. We've still got the playoffs. Go on, mate. What were you going to say?
No, there's a worry. I think that if we don't go up, of course, you lose Rodden because he's going back to Spurs.
Yeah.
Robert's going back to Burnley, Shackleton is out of contract. I don't think about Cresswell and Gallard that if Farke is still the manager, I think they'll try to get a club, because if they didn't get a chance this season, I think they will try to go and play. And of course, you lose Anthony. You still have, of course, Bamford and Joseph, but have time to invest in the squad, and you have to rebuild the squad massively, because of course you lose core players in the end. But yeah, honestly, overall, it's difficult in that case, because there's also the argument, the topic that we tend to forget, but for me it's clear and it is crucial, is that of course we need to get 73 million for the finances during the next season, but of course the first aspect is Somerville and Nyon to get sold. In that case, I agree with that. I think Rotter is probably not ready for Premier League yet, because we've seen good things for him, but he's all potential so far. He's all potential. He has a good moment and goes back. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But the other topic is that you have Rasmus Christensen coming back. You have Max Faber coming back. Brandon Anderson coming back.
None of them will come back, Andrea. They won't.
Yeah, no, they will come back because they have a contract. But then you have to negotiate with the interested clubs. But then you have to lower your lower their value, because no one is easy, because you're still in the championship and they don't want to be here. They want to get out, and you don't want to keep players who are unhappy and don't want to be here. So if you're asking for, let's say, for example, 12 million for Wober to Gladbach, they say no. I get you 7 million. You have to settle for 7 million.
Yeah.
If you don't want to settle, you have to keep him, and you have to keep him.
Let's.
kick back in if we don't
Yeah, they
go
do.
up there.
They
So
do.
then
But
we don't get any money again for them.
let's save that chat for obviously the end of the season. There's loads for us to get into that. Just to finish up, Matty says, in my opinion, no, Matty's definitely not reaching the final of the playoffs, let alone the Premier. No, no, let's not do this, Matty. If you think it'd take years to get back, that's fine. But like that's throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We have a very, very strong squad. We've got 90 points. We go again if we don't go up. But the playoffs is still there. We've got 3 more games. At least 3, maybe 4. But to say it's yours when we've got arguably, well, outside of Leicester, we have the best squad. And it still needs improving, but outside of Leicester, we have the best squad. To say that it's going to take years, I disagree with, mate, but everyone's entitled to their opinion.
I think it's
as
better
we all
squad
know.
than Leicester's, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, there you go. There you go. You think
we lose those players.
Yeah.
I think theirs is better. For me.
But anyway.
Could still
is...
fuck it up.
Yeah. We do. Anyway, let's leave it there because, as I say, it's getting a little bit tetchy and that. What we'll say is, congratulations to QPR for staying up. Congratulations to Leicester City for winning the league or effectively getting promotion. Ipswich probably will do it, and if they do, they deserve it. Big up to you all. We've got to try now and get ready. And listen, we've got one more game in the league. We'll see. One more game in the league. Make sure you check out Paul at Leeds Therapy. Make sure you check out Andrea on Twitter. Make sure you check out Evie channel coming soon. Make sure you check out JT at JT Live. I'll be back tomorrow for Hull versus Ipswich. I mean, if at half time Ipswich are dicking them, it'll be a see you later packet party. You know what I mean? But we will be there. Listen, thanks so much for watching the show. Tonight's rough, but yeah, do what you need to do to try and get over it. I'm gonna go walk the dogs for a bit and listen to music. That'll help. So if that helps you, go do the same. And we'll see in a bit. Thank you all as well for coming on. Coming on when it's when it's like this, it ain't easy. I know it ain't. So it's not easy being a Leeds fan anyway. But then to have to come on and speak about it as well, it's frustrating as well. So big up to you all. We're not out yet. We're not all out. Who knows? But yeah. Peace out, folks. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.